What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right, man. I'm going to talk about Max Kellerman and something he said about Anthony Joshua. And in fact, he says that Anthony Joshua is perceived as a ducker in by the boxing world. And he talks about why that is and his perception of whether or not that is true or not. I'm also going to talk about the fact that he has a new show that is going to be coming on. I think it's going to premiere, I think February 8th on ESPN. I'm not sure what it's going to be called, but, you know, I think that it is it's something that I worry about, man. And there's not a lot of people who would have a boxing show that would worry me as far as what it means for American fighters. But Max Kellerman is one. And I think that he's a very knowledgeable fan of boxing. I think he's a true fan of boxing. But at the same time, man, I think that he has that there's a risk that comes along with his opinion that is dangerous for American fighters, or the name recognition and the reputation of American fighters. Now, before I go into that, I want to welcome you back to the channel. If you are subscribed, thank you very much for being a subscriber. If you are not, I hope that you would accept my invitation to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you can be notified of when we release more videos. Unless you're one of those type of troll cats that just want to come and say something negative all the time. Hey, man, there's plenty of other boxing channels for you. But that said, I hope that you would attend the live streams that we do Monday through Friday right around 10:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. So first, let's address what he says about Anthony Joshua. He was talking in an interview with Coogan Cassius from IFL TV. Shout out to that outlet. They do consistently great work. And this was at the Crawford Khan press conference, which is going to be pay-per-view on ESPN. And the first thing that they asked him about was they talked about Amir Khan and Terrence Crawford. And then they asked about Anthony Joshua and the heavyweights. And then I think they proceeded on to Manny Pacquiao and Adrian Broner's fight. So I'm going to take this slightly out of order, deal with the Anthony Joshua thing first, and then talk about the Terrence Crawford, Amir Khan, and how that affects his show. Now, he says that Anthony Joshua was perceived as a ducker. Absolutely. Absolutely. And when somebody like Max Kellerman says that, that's telling you that is the general consensus among the boxing public, that Anthony Joshua is a ducker. Because if it was not something that was utterly and completely out there, something that was almost common knowledge to people, a guy like Max Kellerman wouldn't say it. Max Kellerman would absolutely positively ride the fence and spin it as politely as he possibly can, which he did by, coming up with a bunch of fanboy arguments about why Anthony Joshua didn't make the fight with Deontay Wilder, right? The usual, well, not the usual, because he used numbers, which I'm like, man, Max, where did you get that from? Anthony Joshua makes 30 million pounds a fight. 30 million pounds a fight. I mean, I've heard some AJ fans throw some way out there numbers, but 35 million pounds a fight, that means he's making more than Canelo Alvarez is. No, I don't think so. But anyway, so he comes up with that logic of why Anthony Joshua, the fight isn't financially viable enough yet, all of that nonsense. But at least he acknowledges the fact that that's the general consensus of Anthony Joshua in the I'm gonna have to say that it's in the United States, because that's where he's from. I can't speak to what the consensus is in the UK, but from the people that come to my channel, it's becoming more and more apparent to me that is a viewpoint that people are taking on Anthony Joshua there as well. Because this is the boxing world, man. People ain't interested in how much. At the end of the day, truly, boxing fans aren't interested in how much money that a boxer's making. I mean, it's a good marketing, it's a good thing to talk about, which gives gives media outlets and promoters an opportunity to say something about the fighter. But at the end of the day, it's what they do in the ring that is of the greatest benefit to, or the greatest interest to, boxing fans. So if you're not in the ring fighting the people that people want to see you fight, then you're going to get a reputation for as somebody that is ducking, or somebody that is there's not going to be as much interest in all the other things around you, like what kind of cars you drive or what kind of watches you have, and where your girlfriend went to college and all of that nonsense. So I think that's clearly the case with Anthony Joshua. To the extent that Anthony Joshua has any real name recognition in the United States, it's almost synonymous with ducking. So that, and the fact that Max Kellerman is saying that, really should drive home the point to guys like Eddie Hearn, if he doesn't already understand that that's the case, or UK fight fans, avid fight fans that really kind of want to argue about what the perception of Anthony Joshua is in the United States. If Max Kellerman, somebody that would be completely inclined to ride with Anthony Joshua, right, says something like that, it tells you, it really does tell you where it is, man, because I've never heard him say that somebody's been perceived as a ducker. Now, Max Kellerman, though, as far as his show goes, like this, Max Kellerman, when he talked about in this interview, Canelo Alvarez, the Amir Khan, right? How the way that he spun Amir Khan as an opponent for Terrence Crawford, I'm not feeling it, man. I'm not feeling it. It was beautiful how he did it. The way he said that Amir Khan, no good deed goes unpunished. Right? No good deed goes unpunished. That Amir Khan could have earlier in his career not taken the difficult fights that he took, not putting himself in a situation where he fought a Danny Garcia, or he fought a Lamont Peterson, or he fought a Canelo Alvarez, that he really could have just continued to be the money man in the division and not go that route. And that's what led him to being knocked out, right? And then in turn having him have a diminished perception in the boxing public, right? The perception of his skills and whether he's a qualified or a credible opponent for Terrence Crawford. And I'm just like, man, you guys, you can spin it, man. I got a whole bunch of good friends, man, good friends on YouTube that are talking about this Amir Khan fight as if it's not a foregone conclusion. This fight is a foregone conclusion. This fight is a foregone conclusion. Amir Khan's problem was not that Amir Khan took on too tough a competition and that he didn't milk his money man status. Number one, he never had money man status in the United States, period. But even if he did, the problem that he had was that he doesn't have a chin. And there's no way, or there's no two ways around that. There's no way around it. The problem that Amir Khan has is that Amir Khan does not have a chin. And in boxing, if X marks the spot and X is your chin, you can't take that shot to a chin. That's what you're stuck with. It's just, it is a defect in Amir Khan's game that is glaring and can be taken advantage of by fighters at a certain level. The two best fighters that I believe that Amir Khan fought knocked him out. That being Danny Garcia and Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez might have been a size thing. Danny Garcia is not a size thing. Danny Garcia and Amir Khan are about the same size. It was just a matter of when Danny Garcia hit him with that left hook. So, I mean, I can't go with Max Kellerman on that. And Max Kellerman, and the thing that worries me about Max Kellerman's show is that on the platform ESPN on a weekly basis, this guy is going to be out there willing to say things like that are so casual fan-ish that it's going to ultimately take credit away from the fighters that, at least I believe, really do deserve it. The biggest example of that with Max Kellerman is him saying that Manny Pacquiao, and I am a Manny Pacquiao fan, that Manny Pacquiao was the best fighter of his generation. Manny Pacquiao is the best fighter of his generation, and that nobody can argue against that. That is absolutely positively foolish. It's not true. It's not true any way, shape, form, or fashion that Manny Pacquiao is the greatest fighter of his generation when he has Floyd Mayweather Jr. in the same generation as himself. When Andre Ward spent a considerable amount, his entire career, in the same generation as Manny Pacquiao. You might be able to argue that Andre Ward is younger than Manny Pacquiao, so maybe that's not the same generation. They fought at the same time, but I could see why some people would say that he's not. But Floyd Mayweather Jr., there's no doubt. Not only did Floyd Mayweather Jr. not lose, Floyd Mayweather Jr. beat Manny Pacquiao. He easily beat somebody that knocked out Manny Pacquiao. He's easily a better fighter in that generation than Manny Pacquiao. But somehow Max Kellerman will stand there and tell you that water ain't wet and fire ain't hot. So that's what I worry about. Even when he talked about Canelo Alvarez and he was talking about, in this interview about the pound for pound and, Terrence Crawford #1, Vasyl Lomachenko #2, and act as if the idea that Canelo Alvarez could be considered that was, he was dismissive of it. At least his facial expression was dismissive of it. How can you not? It's hard for me to argue. I can argue that Terrence Crawford, pound for pound, is better fighter than Canelo Alvarez. It's almost impossible for me to do that with Vasyl Lomachenko. Not the accomplishments, not the resume, not any of that. To me, not even the skill set, to me, and the diversity in what he can do eliminates Canelo Alvarez from that conversation. But, anyway, I might be on the minority on that. But anyway, we'll see what happens with his show. I have a suspicion that I'll be able to, that I'm going to be complaining a lot. And hopefully it won't be like the Fight Game with Jim Lampley, which was just, completely and utterly a sell job for HBO boxers. Hopefully it won't be the case for ESPN boxers. But anyway, at least it's better than Stephen A. Smith. But we'll see. And with that, I'm out. Peace.